Assalamualaikum dan salam muhibah. Kita kembali bersama Dialog Sejahtera dibawakan di bawah Sejahtera Center dan juga Dialektika. Dan seperti mana minggu lalu telah kami janjikan, kita telah mengembangkan idea asas daripada melihat sejahtera itu sebagai sebuah model. Dan ia bukan hanya berlatar belakangkan kepada bertujuan akademik, bahkan ia juga boleh dikembangkan untuk menjadi suatu model pembangunan negara, bahkan juga kepimpinan. Dan seperti yang dijanjikan, kita sudah melihat bagaimana idea sejahtera itu sudah pun diterima pakai bahkan oleh negara bukan Malaysia. Dan seperti yang kami nyatakan, kita akan mula menelusuri pandangan dan juga pengalaman khususnya dari negara Korea Selatan di mana Sejahtera Center ataupun pusat sejahtera telah pun ditubuhkan bertujuan untuk mengembangkan lagi idea ini dia dalam pelbagai bentuk manifestasinya yang lain. Dan menemani saya di studio pada malam ini seperti mana yang biasa Profesor Emeritus Tan Sri Zulkifli Abdul Razak Rektor UIA. Terima kasih Prof kerana kita ke udara lagi untuk kesekian kalinya, tapi istimewa pada malam ini kerana dialog sejahtera ini akan dibawa mempunyai dua bahagian, di mana bahagian pertama kita akan bercakap dengan teman kita dari Korea Selatan, dahulunya bertugas di Korea Selatan, kini berada di Paris. And joining us online tonight is Miss Wong Jun Byun, who is currently attached to the ESD section in UNESCO in Paris, but she was instrumental to the establishment of Sejahtera Center in Donghyun in South Korea. Welcome, Miss Won. How's the weather in Paris? Yeah. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, it's very hot.
Yeah.
Hot here. Thank you for having me. It's a great honor.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And we've spoken a lot about Sejahtera as an idealism, as an ideal. But I came to understand that South Korea is the first country in the world that has try to encapsulate the spirits of Sejahtera so much so that it has been incorporated in the establishment of Sejahtera as a center, and in fact in a number of other manifestations. So at the point of discovery, Ms. Won, if you may share some insights, when you first encountered Sejahtera as an ideal, when was that, and what was the most appealing aspects of Sejahtera? Can you share with us?
Sure. When the first time that we encountered the word Sejahtera was through the work of RC Penang in the Regional Centers of Expertise on Education for Sustainable Development Network. So around the discussions of how we understand the concept of sustainable development, it was introduced that in Malaysia, in many parts of the world, in Southeast Asia, this concept of Sejahtera is used to explain the overall meaning of sustainable development, which is all about balancing environmental, social, and economic pillars of development. So in a way, this was our first encounter of the term. And for me, the special appeal of this concept was that in many parts of the world, when we use the word sustainable development, for example, in Korean, we say 지속 가능한 발전. This is already very long and also loses the meaning when translated into different languages. So you often you risk losing attention of your audience. But at the same time, I think also the sustainable development in the meaning that we want to maintain and prolong certain things, it just doesn't fully deliver and sometimes confuses people when we are trying to explain what it is all about in practice. So in this regard, the concept of Sejahtera has its very special appeal. And we were especially inspired by the way that Professor Zul explains the concept of Sejahtera as a holistic balancing process with the acronym of SPICES. I recall that S is for spiritual, physical, intellectual, cultural, ecological, economical, and ethical. So these 7 dimensions of Sejahtera in SPICES really beautifully explains the core values of our work on sustainable development and education on sustainable development.
And as I mentioned earlier, it all started out by having just a mere physical center by itself. I was made to understand now that Sejahtera has been manifested in a number of other ways. You already have Sejahtera Forest, I was told, and also Sejahtera Scholarship. Can you share with us?
Yes, of course. So once we were inspired by this concept, and it was also through our discussions among many Asia-Pacific RCEs at the time. And coincidentally, at the time, we were starting to develop a project to create a center, education center, focused especially on education for sustainable development, and to serve the Asia-Pacific region. So in that regard, we designated this center with the support of many colleagues in the Asia Pacific region as Sejahtera Center.
Right.
And now it's called Sejahtera Center, and around it, it has a beautiful forest, which we call Sejahtera Forest. And in this physical center, which is located in this city called Tongyeong, on the southern coast of South Korea, this center actually at the moment welcomes around 100,000 people per year, and over 15,000 learners who participate in various education programs that embed the philosophy of Sejahtera and coexistence.
Right.
And for example, these programs include, as you mentioned, the scholarship fellowship program that we launched. So Sejahtera Fellowship for the researchers and activists in Asia Pacific region to come to this center, stay there for about 3 months, and conduct a research, comparative research between the practices of ESD in their own countries with those in Korea and other parts of the world.
Yeah, Ms. Won, earlier on you mentioned a phrase in Korean language, I suppose. It's a bit mouthful for me to repeat the word, but I assume that it encapsulates the spirits of Sejahtera. So you mentioned that Sejahtera as an ideal, it simplifies the way how you can explain sustainable development ideals. So in what way do you think you have similarities? Maybe you can share again the phrase that you mentioned earlier on. It's a bit mouthful for me to mention it. How is it different, Sejahtera, as compared to what you have in your own cultural settings?
Of course, I mean, the idea of living sustainably in balance as a part of the nature is a universal value. So there are many concepts and terminologies available in this regard, either whether it's traditional or modern. And for example, what I mentioned earlier is a literal translation of sustainable development. But traditionally, we have, for example, concepts like coexistence. We could say 공존 in Korean. And also recently, I came across a beautiful set of 7 principles of harmony by Prince Charles in United Kingdom, for example. So there are many manifestations of these concepts. And I think among them, Sejahtera and these 7 spices concept really resonates fully with the discussions that we are having about sustainability and our challenges of today.
Right. Ms. Won, if I may turn to Professor Zul, who is also with us tonight, because Ms. Won just now mentioned that you articulated the idea and it captured Ms. Won's imagination when you presented the spices of Sejahtera. And now you can see that South Korea is ahead in the sense that they manifested the ideals of Sejahtera in many other forms. They already have forests, Sejahtera forest, and also scholarship. So I think, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, this is often the case. When you have something, you don't appreciate it until somebody else appreciates it. I think they've done tremendously well. I think Woon also didn't mention to you that I think you have invested more than 20 million US to build the whole campus, you know, and attracting 100,000 people. In other words, now Korea is more advanced in the sense of introducing this word to the world. They don't come to Malaysia for this and they go to Korea. But like she said, this is almost a universal concept. It doesn't belong to anybody anymore. If somebody can take it and make it operational in the sense that we are looking at a global dimension rather than just Korea, Malaysia. And then you are able to unite, I think, 23 centers around Asia Pacific, just on this Sejahtera Fellowship, Sejahtera Network, and so on and so forth. So in that sense, I think we are very thankful to South Korea and particularly to Ms. Woon for taking this and presenting it to the world as another idea of what this is all about. What is important for me is basically to manifest to the world that this is not something which is new. People who work on this, we were introduced on sustainable development in the year 1987, I think. So it comes out across as though it's a new thing, mainly Western-centric because it comes from Europe, that we do not have any contribution. What Sejahtera does is basically to bring it back. That is part and parcel of our culture, part of our lifestyle. Somehow or other we've forgotten it because of quote-unquote modernism. Now we are saying, like, look, this is part of us and we do not have to discard it. We need to now embrace it and make it mainstream. I think that's the biggest contribution that the Sejahtera Center in Korea has done.
Would you like Ms. Won to reflect on what Professor Zul has just said?
Exactly. And I would first of all want to again emphasize how grateful we are for this amazing introduction and the values that you've shared through Sejahtera concept among the Asia Pacific RCs. So we are indeed very much benefited from this concept. And I totally agree with Professor Zul that this is a universal concept that can be applied in multiple situations, and especially the limitations of the word sustainable development can be complemented with our own traditional understanding of what balancing and living holistically in harmony with the nature is all about.
Yeah.
So I fully agree with that.
Yeah, Ms. Won, if I may bring the discussion a bit further, because if you talk about Sejahtera in an academic setting, then perhaps it can easily be accommodated. But once you try to deploy or exercise Sejahtera in the corporate world, where it's all about monetary return, do you find compatibility, the relevance of Sejahtera in today's capitalistic environment?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's one of the beauty of this concept. For example, now we are facing this grave challenge, climate emergency, and the UN Secretary General has called it the defining challenge of our era. And for example, in the face of such great challenge, we have to review the core values that direct us to learn with and in the nature and create a lived experience for the people to be able to live in harmony so that we can address and solve this problem.
Yeah.
And this age, for example, I would like to, in that regard, introduce you that recently UNESCO has launched a new global framework on education for sustainable development, which is called ESD for 2030 in short. And this framework actually emphasizes the importance of individual transformation to play individuals to play active roles in taking and creating a sustainable future.
Right.
And in that regard, at the same time, promoting structural transformation in the society is also important. And for that concept to be rolled out in learning settings, I think the concept of Sejahtera has a particular power in delivering the message that we need to empower people to live more holistically as part of the nature,
right,
and achieve the balance, like in the 7 aspects of sustainability.
Yeah.
Since we have also the rector of International Islamic University over here, and we're talking about education framework
Exactly.
in embracing Sejahtera, I think the challenge is also, if I may turn to Prof. Zul, Tan Sri, we've been talking a lot about this, the challenges in under the current setting, when you talk about embracing Sejahtera as a new transformational ideas, and it's going to be a huge challenge if we may share this.
This is why I want to go back to what the Sejahtera Center is all about in Tong Yung. I stayed there for I think 3 nights or 4 nights.
Okay.
You know, and this is where you come to experience again what Sejahtera is in a practical way. I'll give you an example, if I can remember correctly. When you go to you are booked into a kind of a chalet kind of a thing. You know, they give you a light which is basically operated on a battery. And I remember when we checked in, you don't get the towel, you got 2 pieces of small towels. It's not the big towel where the hotels give you.
Right.
And you are supposed to make do with this, you know. In other words, there is no luxury as in living in a hotel where you can do whatever you want with it. I remember you have to go and cook your own breakfast. You have to clean your own plates, and the way you wash your plates, that was also systematically done. I think 3 washes. You don't have the luxury of putting on the tap and, you know, 3 washes. And the kind of food you give are also food that is very healthy food, not just any breakfast that you wish for. So I think that whole experience, you have to walk most of the time. There's no transportation that takes you up and down. So that 3 days experience will bring you back what life is all about at a very minimum standards, you know, and you are able to survive that. So you really think at the end of the day, all the things that we have are extras that we can live without. you know, the huge towers and all those things. These are something that you get used to, but without it, you can still survive. And I think that is a very important lesson. And that's why after that, I encourage a lot of my students to go there so that they can really experience what this is all about. Until you experience it, Syed, you would think this is something something which is an abstract thing. And this is what we're trying to do with this university. That people to experience what Sejahtera is all about. It is an experiential learning rather than sitting in a classroom, learning the theory and still do not know how to practice that. That center of in the one in Korea, I think is a marvelous sort of. If I have the money, I'll tell them, no, go there and experience for a week and come back and tell me what this is all about.
Professor, by the way, we already established Sejahtera Center here in IIU. So how far away are we from what we've seen the Koreans have done as far as Sejahtera being encapsulated into development models? So we already have our own center.
So the discussion we have now is to look at what we call the academic review. So we're going to revise all the academic review so that it is in line with the Sejahtera's principle, so that then students will begin to experience this as they come into the campus. As and when, you know, they learn about Sejahtera. Because our numbers are big, we've got 30,000 students. We need to do this in small steps, hopefully that it works. But still, I think if it can work in Tongyong, I think it can work anywhere if you put your mind into it.
If I may bring this discussion to our current challenges, Ms. Won, coming back to Ms. Won, because earlier on, prior to going online, we were discussing about the new realities, and there is even such a term which was being coined, new normal. So, which is unprecedented in nature, and we're not so sure what are the new realities that we're going to face in times to come. How do you see Sejahtera as an ideals, the values that we are to embrace, so that we'll be able to face the unprecedented new realities? Ms. Won.
Yes, indeed. I mean, now that we are going through this great pandemic and going through these experiences that no one has gone through before, we have come to a realization that something needs to be done differently. And I think that shared shock is already an asset to build on. And on the basis of that shock, we must now think about where we should go and how we should do this. And one thing that that is enlightening in during this pandemic is that when we need to do, we can rapidly and radically adapt to the crisis. So we've seen how all these countries have locked down the passages, and how drastic measures were put in order to contain this pandemic. And in that regard, now the question is, okay, the possibility, the method is there if the will is there. And the question is now, to what direction do we go from here? And to find our guiding star in determining where we should go from here, we must revisit and strengthen the core values. And I think that's where Sejahtera values come in. That it will provide us the guiding stars, the route and the direction to which we can follow in the world to come beyond COVID-19.
In our earlier segments, Prof, we will be discussing this.
So this is exactly, we are not using the word new normal, we are using the word renewed normal. In other words, what was there
redesigning
before needs to be refreshed and looked at it again, because it has worked before. There's no reason why it should not work now. Exactly like what you say. If we need to do it, we need to do it. We can do it. Indeed, we have seen how the environment takes a good refreshing breath when the man takes its place, doesn't move extravagantly or spend unnecessarily, and we come back to where we are in the context of Sejahtera. So another, Sejahtera is a living concept that could be relived if we really put our minds into it and understand what Sejahtera is all about. It has happened before. I think it can happen again.
Okay, Ms. Won, I will have to let you go. Thank you very much for your time. Hope you can join us again next time around. Thank you very much, Ms. Won.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, and selamat malam.
Thank you very much, Won. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Stay safe.
Bye. Thank you very much. Kita bersama seketika tadi bersama Ms. Won Jung Byun, adalah merupakan mantan pengarah RCE Tong Hyong. Jadi Tan Sri, untuk manfaat penonton kita, kita bercerita pada minggu lalu bagaimana Sejahtera itu telah pun dibangunkan sebagai sebuah model, dan tadi kita bercakap bersama Miss Won, merupakan orang yang instrumental di dalam menubuhkan Sejahtera Center. Mungkin kita ulas mula tentang apa yang telah dilakukan.
Ini mengikut beliau tadi, dia mengenali istilah sejahtera ini semasa kita ada satu persidangan di USM, dan dia dengan serta-merta dapat melihat kekuatan istilah itu ketika dia melihat terjemahan perkataan sustainable development ataupun pembangunan lestari dalam bahasa Korea yang tidak begitu mantap, dan menggunakan sejahtera ini sebagai satu sumber inspirasi untuk merangkumi apakah itu pembangunan lestari yang kita katakan. Saya rasa agak terkejut kerana mereka mengambil konsep ini bukan sekadar untuk belajar atau mengetahui ilmu, tetapi mempraktikkannya. So dalam sekelip mata, saya rasa saya berjumpa dia itu mungkin tak sampai 2 tahun, mungkin 2 tahun 2010-2011 ketika itu. Dan 2015 dia sudah menjemput saya untuk merasmikan apa yang dipanggilnya Sejahtera Center. Itulah ceritanya tadi. Dengan bangunan, dengan pelaburan 20 juta US, lebih kurang kalau duit kita sekarang ni 80 juta ringgit. Saya tidak boleh gambarkan yang kita membelanjakan sebanyak itu untuk membangunkan konsep sejahtera di Malaysia, walaupun ini istilah kita.
Dan menariknya kerana ini bukan kali pertama Korea Selatan mengambil nilai kita. Kita pernah bercakap soal Ubuntu, Ikigai, yang mana nilai-nilai asing. Sebelum ini mereka mengambil gotong royong.
Betul.
Ini perlu kita ulas mula.
Saya melundung. Dia menggunakan itu, dan ini malah saya bertanya dengan dia mengapa dia hendak mengambil istilah sejahtera ini. Dia mengatakan sedemikian. Kata dia pada tahun 70-an dia mengambil istilah gotong royong itu dan menggunakan ini sebagai asas pembangunan Korea. Sebab itu dia kata Korea cukup cepat membangun kerana rakyatnya bergotong royong untuk membangunkan Korea. Sedangkan istilah itu istilah kita, tapi sekarang ni di mana gotong royong itu? Dia masih ada lagi, dibawa saya ke tempat dipanggilnya Samuel Undung Center, di mana dia memupuk semangat untuk bergotong royong. Dan dia kata kita sudah maju sekarang, tapi dalam mencapai kemajuan itu mereka sudah hilang naluri ataupun nilai-nilai kemanusiaan itu, ataupun hidup bersama ataupun perseimbangan, katanya itu. Sebab itu dia mencari pula lagi idea baru, dan kali ini istilah Malaysia juga, sejahtera, dan mereka memanfaatkannya.
Saya tidak pasti, Tan Sri, saya ingin meneroka mata hati Tan Sri bercakap soal ini, kerana kita melihat sebelumnya banyak pengalaman Korea itu mereka pada awalnya mencontohi kita, bukan hanya dalam konteks Semelundung, bahkan juga sejahtera pada waktu ini, banyak sektor-sektor lain juga. Tetapi kita melihat pemodenan Korea Selatan seperti mana yang dizahirkan pada hari ini, kelihatannya termasuk artisan mereka mula kembali melihat ke dalam, dan inilah manifestasi sejahtera. Dan kita boleh lihat ini bahkan di dalam sektor